for that. That was lovely. So many good ideas, things to think about. I think as parents, we're always challenged to think differently and to think again and to question ourselves. Because our children are asking us such interesting questions and such difficult questions, yes? So, so how many of you are parents? And how many of you have kids in your lives? And how many of you are really caring and passionate about making the world a better place for those kids? Yeah. I'm passionate about that as well. I do diversity and inclusion work for a living, but as a parent, that passion and that desire to make the world a better place has become much stronger. I have a 4.5-year-old daughter. We live in Canada, so she's a visible minority. She's brown, like me. And so every day I'm challenged to examine how she not only sees the world, but how she's received by the world, what kind of world she lives in. And it worries me that she's growing up in a place that might not see her for who she is, really, because she's a girl and because she's brown, right? The people in power that are around us, the role models that she has in high places are still largely men, still largely white. And so I think about that. I think about that a lot. One of the stories that has really shaken me recently is a story of a playground encounter that she had last summer with a friend of hers from daycare. So they were both just shy of 4, and they were playing on the swings, and her white friend with long blonde hair said to her, "You have crazy hair." And my daughter has beautiful, much curlier hair than I do, and she used to love to wear it out. And from that day, she refused to wear it out. It had to be in a ponytail. She was very ashamed. But maybe ashamed is a strong word, but she didn't like her hair anymore. And it took us months of talking to her and reading books with pictures of little girls with dark curly hair until she was again feeling comfortable and happy about what she looked like. That really broke my heart. Really, really broke my heart. So there's a few things that we do in our home to help her to feel good about who she is, to help her recognize that everybody is special. And I'd like to share some of those things with you today, if I may. So the first thing that we try to do at home is to provide role models for her, right? Role models that look like her, and role models that don't look like her, so that she knows that there are many, many people in the world that are the same and that there are many people that are different. So we like to surround ourselves with diversity. We have friends from all walks of life. We have friends from different cultures. We try to make sure that we spend time with them and that she can spend time with them on her own. And we're very fortunate to live in Toronto, so we're surrounded by much cultural diversity. We were very careful about the school that we chose for her. We wanted to make sure that there was many opportunities for her to meet many different children from many walks of life, many different types of families, many cultures. And she's very fortunate to have 2 teachers. One is a male, and he's from South America, and one is a female, and she's from Ghana. And so she has 2 amazing role models in her classroom every day that model how they see the world and how they appreciate difference and who they are. They share their stories with them. We also try to make sure that she has experiences to be surrounded by children who are like her. So she loves to dance, and we have many different schools that she could choose from in Toronto for her to learn to dance. But we chose the collective of Black artists, so she could be around people of color who are doing African dance and beautiful other types of dances that she can enjoy and see dance teachers, role models that she can emulate. Another thing that we like to do in the house is challenge stereotypes, challenge ways of thinking. So recently we went to Cuba, where we weren't able to drink the water. And when we came back from Cuba, my daughter's 4.5, she likes to drink the water when she's showering. So I happened to say to her, "Aren't we lucky that we live in a country where you can drink the water out of the tap?" And then I caught myself, because we live in a country, we live in Canada, where not everybody can drink the water out of the tap, right? That was a moment for me to catch myself, because it would have been very easy for me to promote the idea that we live in a developed country and how great is that. But there's many people in Canada that cannot drink their tap water, most notably Indigenous people who live on reserve. There's many, many reserves in Canada that have boil water advisories where they have to boil the water before they drink it, and have had that issue for many, many years. Flint, Michigan is another example of a city of the state where they've had to boil their water more recently. So that was important for two reasons. One, I caught myself. And it's so easy for us to fall into stereotypes and fall into assumptions and then to pass those along to our children without realizing that we're doing it. So I was glad that I caught myself, and I caught myself in the moment. So I was able to correct the information. You know, that would have been information that I would have passed on to her, and that would have been an idea in her head that was incorrect. So now I've been able to correct that. I've been able to change that information and give her a fuller understanding of the world and of privilege and power in our country and how that plays out for people in different ways. But also to show her that, you know, Mom made a mistake, and I corrected my mistake, and then that's okay, right? That we catch ourselves and that we model that behavior. Another way that we do is we pay attention to curriculum. So in Canada, we celebrate Black History Month, and it's not my favorite month for a lot of reasons. I think we perpetuate a lot of negative stereotypes that way. We tend to talk about Black people and Black history starting with slavery, which gives kids a very skewed understanding of what it means to be Black. We don't talk about Africa. We don't talk about the centuries of civilization and the amazing things that that African people have contributed to the world and to thinking and to modern life. We start with slavery, and then we talk about how Black people in America have come out of that. So I think that's really damaging. But in talking about Black history with her teachers, you know, I made them aware that we were having strange conversations at home that we hadn't had before, you know, about Black people and white people. My daughter, at 4.5, thinks everybody's a different shade of brown, which I think is lovely. So having had that conversation with her teacher, he was very concerned, and he went back and they read books about different people from different cultures and different skin colors, and it wasn't quite so binary. So I think we have to be really careful what our children are learning in school, what they're not learning in school, what they're missing, so we can fill in those blanks. You talked about books, right? You talked about using flashcards and seeing children from different cultures. It's really, really important. Not just what they're learning, but what they're missing. You have to fill those blanks. And then, of course, we like to have different experiences with diversity. So you mentioned foods and events. You know, we live in a city where we too have a lot of different cultural events, so we're able to experience those and talk about those. We like to travel. We like to watch different things on I guess, the internet. We don't have a TV, but and talking about those things, asking questions, and encouraging her to ask questions. You talked about embarrassing questions. So I was on the streetcar the other day with her, and there was a woman in front of us with gray hair, and she said, "Money," really loud, right? "Money, that lady's old." And so after I wanted to disappear under the seat, I said to her, "Sweetheart, not everybody that has gray hair is old. You know, not everybody that has gray hair is old. Her grandfather has a friend who has been gray since 17, and she looked at me, right? It was a new concept for her. But, you know, I could see that she was thinking about it. And so from then on, I'm hoping that when she sees somebody with gray hair, she's not going to automatically think old. She's going to think, oh, they have gray hair. And I happened to be close enough to the woman that she was talking about. She was sitting, and we were standing directly behind her. And I could see what she was texting. And she actually was texting about it. "Oh, this mom just told her kid that not everybody that has gray hair is old." And, you know, and a little smiley face. So I thought, oh, you know, maybe we made somebody's day in the process. So I think as parents, we have a responsibility to provide opportunities for our children to be proud of who they are, to see people like them doing amazing, wonderful things, but also to remind them to question what they're seeing, to not take everything they're seeing at face value, to see what else there is, to find out what more there is so that they can get to know other people, other ideas, and expand their way of thinking, expand their view. So I really want to thank you for the opportunity to speak with you. to learn from you and to be in a room with all of you, and hopefully we'll have a chance to ask some questions.